It's Gold Cup week for Kubota Highland Racing. Justin Sanders strikes as a substitute shoe, and it's payday in Tulare. It's been a wild week in sprint car racing. Let's dissect and discuss on this week's edition of the High Limit Room. I'm Chase Rodman. Welcome back to the High Limit Room. Later on in the show, social media manager for High Limit, Brian Walker, and pit reporter Tony Laporta will join the show from the Silver Dollar Fairgrounds. But before that, we've got to talk about race recaps from the two races that took place on Friday and Saturday. On Friday night, High Limit made its third appearance at the Thunderbolt Raceway in Tulare, California, with 31 cars driving into the pit area for the night's action. After Spencer Bayston was let go by Jason Myers Racing last Sunday night, it was announced later in the week that he would be selected to pilot the Kevin Kozlowski Letter W car with Paul Silva as the crew chief, and they got off to a hot start by going quickest overall during time trials on Friday night. The heat races, they were won by Rico Abreu, Justin Sanders, who is filling in for Aaron Reitzel, and Tanner Thorson along with Danny Sams III. The FK Rodden's Dash was won by Justin Sanders as well, and he would start on the pole of the 30-lap feature next to Spencer Bayston, and it was Bayston jumping out to the early advantage, leading the first 12 laps of the main event and going toe-to-toe with his former ride, of course, with Corey Day, piloting that Jason Myers Racing 14. An interesting dynamic there at the front of the field at the Thunderbolt. Day would get the best of Bayston on lap 13 and never look back to score his third High Limit win of the season and grab the Durst dice roll money in the process as well. Bayston would have a season-best second-place finish, followed by Giovanni Scelzi, Brad Sweet, and Justin Sanders would round out the top five in Tulare. 250 miles to the north was the next stop for High Limit at the quarter-mile Placerville Speedway at the El Dorado County Fairgrounds. 40 drivers signed into the pit area in Old Hangtown, and Justin Sanders would parlay his top five run at Tulare into a quick-time qualifying effort, turning in a blistering 10.295 second lap time to top Flight A. Corey Eliason did the same for Flight B with a 10.562 second lap time to be the fastest in that second group of cars. The heat races were split amongst Tanner Carrick, Jake Andriotti in his High Limit Racing debut, Dason Pursley, and Corey Day. The Dash, however, was not won by any of those drivers, but instead it was fan favorite Caleb Montgomery taking his number 3 to the pole position of the feature, with Corey Day flanking him for the start of the A main. Day would also be rolled as the Durst dice roll driver for the second night in a row, trying to take down that extra $2,500 for him and $2,500 for a race fan. Montgomery would get the first call, and he would lead lap number 1, and after a few stoppages for a couple of incidents, he would stay out of lap traffic for the most part throughout the feature, but the one time that he did sniff the back of the field, Corey Day got a little bit too close and clipped Montgomery's left rear into turn 1, sending him spinning and over the banking and out of contention. Now, with Day taking a trip to the work area, that left Montgomery up front by himself, Corey Eliason and Justin Sanders to settle it amongst themselves, all looking for their first High Limit Racing wins. Now, Montgomery did everything right in this feature. He made zero mistakes until coming to the white flag off of turn number 4. He got the car a little bit too sideways, missed the bottom, allowing Justin Sanders to rail around the outside and cross the line first for his first and long-awaited national touring win. Montgomery would go on to run second in a near photo finish at the line, with Corey Eliason finishing in third, Brad Sweet fourth, and Spencer Bayston with back-to-back top fives in that Kevin Kozlowski Letter W car. So great stuff all night long at the Placerville Speedway. At one point in time in that feature, the first 11 cars in the running order all looking for their first ever High Limit Racing win, and it turned out to be Justin Sanders' night finally as a substitute driver for Aaron Reitzel. You could not write a crazier story than that. After Sanders has ran so many different race cars in his career, it ends up being one that he'll probably only run a couple of times, and he's able to get the victory. So congrats to him, and congrats to Ridge & Sons Racing. That moves that 87 car up to second in the owner's points. Now this week, it is the 71st running of the Mike Curb Gold Cup Race at Champions presented by NOS Energy Drink at the Silver Dollar Speedway in Chico, California. At last check, 68 cars are pre-entered into the event, meaning we have a split field prelim night on Thursday and Friday night and a unique format to go along with it, all leading up to the $100,071 paycheck on Saturday night. Certainly a lot of excitement for this year's California Crown Jewel, and one of the main storylines going in is if Corey Day will be able to win 3 Gold Cups in a row, a feat only accomplished once in the 71-year history of this event. Steve Kinzer was the first and only guy to do it back in 1986, 87, and 88, but Payday could make it happen all before his 20th birthday. Don't forget about all the off-track events as well throughout the week, including the Glow Party, the Bikini Contest, the Golf Tournament, the Chili Fee, the FK Shocks Pit Stop Challenge, the Fan Barbecue, and I'm probably forgetting something. Go to silverdollarspeedway.com to learn more and see all of the different events they've got going on. There's going to be live music before and after the races as well. There is a lot to do at this event. Tickets are available online right now at highlimiracing.com. And if you can't make it, of course, FloRacing has every lap live. If you don't have Flo, make sure to go over to FloRacing.com and get yourself a subscription. A lot of racing coming up here, not only with Kubota High Limit Racing, but we've got this weekend coming up the USAC Smackdown at Kokomo Speedway. The All-Star Sprint cars are in action, the IRA Sprint cars, and don't forget about some of the pavement stuff with the Cars Tour late models. There's just way too many races to not have a FloRacing subscription in 2025. If you don't have one, I don't know what you're doing. You must not be that big of a race fan because you don't have a FloRacing subscription. You must not like racing all that much. Now, one thing that we did want to get to here in our second segment of the show, one of the main storylines coming into this West Coast swing was all of the drivers switching around, having the injuries with some of the drivers that race normally with High Limit Racing. We already talked about Justin Sanders filling in for Aaron Reitzel. We talked about Spencer Baston driving the Kevin Kozlowski letter W car. The other guy that was in the middle of this whole thing was Giovanni Scelzi, and he caught up with Tony Laporta after a podium finish at the Thunderbolt Raceway in Tulare the first night in the Clausen Marshall Racing 7 BC with High Limit.
And we thought West Coast swing, why not get a West Coast driver to fill in for a Midwest driver, Giovanni Scelzi. First off, address the rumor. Is it required to call you Giovanni, or can we get away with Gio?
My mom was a Giovanni fan, not a Gio fan, so don't piss her off.
That's what I heard. I didn't want to name any sources or name any names, but I did hear that your mom is quite particular about it's Giovanni, not Gio.
Correct.
So Mr. Scelzi, Giovanni, thanks for talking to us. Hey, we talked a little bit last night on the podium at Tulare. Great job coming out of the gate with a third place run, but filling in for Tyler Courtney after you and KCP split. You know, you don't have to get into the nitty-gritty, but what were those days like in between stepping away from the KCP ride? And then, of course, Tyler unfortunately getting injured. What goes on? What goes into those days and those weeks of finding yourself a new opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, I left Eldora Thursday morning after I quit, and it was a pretty emotional ride home. 8 hours, obviously, sitting and staring at a windshield was a lot of thoughts going through my mind. And being there for 5 years, it's the first place I lived was Des Moines, Iowa, and moving there and being with my girlfriend living there was a lot for sure. So I don't know if it's scared or just emotional. A lot of things went through my head, and obviously, like we've all said, terrible circumstances with Tyler getting hurt, and then Aaron getting hurt, and then Brad obviously having a concussion there Saturday. So it was a scary weekend for sure, and glad I wasn't there. I can tell you that. So I don't know. Things happened really quick. I think Monday, the following Monday, we agreed to do this deal with Tyler, and I'm pretty excited about it.
So this is a weird question. I don't know if it's an unfair one, and you can tell me if it is. But if Tyler doesn't get hurt, and this Clausen Marshall NOS Energy Drink 7 VC doesn't come open, what do you think would have happened? Did you have a plan moving forward the rest of the summer? Were you even thinking that far ahead? What do you think would have happened had Tyler Courtney not needed the replacement?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a guy, so when I'm in plan A, I'm not thinking about plan B. So quit with nothing in the works. Obviously, I was fully committed to KCP until the day I left. So yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. I don't really know what would have happened. Like I said, I left with no backup plan and hoping something might come about. And obviously, I really wanted to run Knoxville and wanted to be in a solid car for Knoxville. And if I didn't go there in a car I felt like I could win with, I wouldn't have gone. So this deal, it all kind of worked out. It's weird how things kind of play themselves out. But worked out for the better for me for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we just like you, we send our best wishes to Tyler Courtney and excited to hear what his timetable will be. But for the time being, you are behind the wheel of this 7BC. I talked to you a little bit about on the podium last night, just slotting in, working with Jake Argo and the rest of this Clausen Marshall team. What's something that maybe the average fan, maybe the average pit reporter wouldn't expect is something that pops up as a driver jumping into a different guy's car that you're just sort of helping out? What's one of the technical things that you guys have to address for you to be successful in this car that maybe not everybody thinks of right off the bat?
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is being comfortable sitting in the cockpit with seat mounting, and everyone's A-frames are a bit different. The cockpits are a bit different. So dash height is a big thing. You know, how your visual is. I mean, I'm looking at an orange hood for 5 years. I'm looking at a black one. So stuff you don't really think about that you never really take into consideration is different. They run a different brand wing slider, so the wing moves slower than mine does with the 18 car. The throttle pedal's mounted differently. They run a different brake system. So all that stuff is stuff you never think about when you're racing, and it's a lot different now. So it takes time to get used to. You know, the seat's obviously exactly the same when I've run with the 18 car, but mounting all that stuff, and you can sit in the car all day long in the shop till you actually get on the racetrack and kind of get your visuals and see what you're looking at on the racetrack. You don't really know if you're comfortable or not.
So switching away from the work side of things, you as a guy, I've had the pleasure of knowing you for a few years, and you're a very fun guy. You like to spend time away from the track, partaking in a little gambling, we should call it. So, you know, never to lean too much into the whole high limit versus outlaw rivalry, except we will say their name. What do you like about being a high roller? Does that give you a little bit extra, little motivation when you walk up to the slot machines, knowing that you are a high roller now? Wow. Does that make the casino trips even more exciting and exhilarating?
Well, I haven't won yet, so that would help the gambling funds, but Vegas Matt's my hero, so maybe one day we can get him out to Vegas next year in March.
So when you're not racing, you enjoy spending a little bit of time at the slot machines. That's your game, right?
Slots, blackjack, anything that'll take my money, I'll normally put it into.
Man, you are probably not lying there at all. And then you and Maddie recently rescued a black lab.
Yeah, so
that was last year.
Yep, 2023 actually. We're here for 2 years now. So yeah, driving through Mississippi on the way from Magnolia to Devil's Bowl, Texas, found a black lab walking along the side of the highway and stopped at the truck stop and said, hey, I'm going to get diesel and go to the bathroom, and if this dog's still there when I leave, I'm going to pick her up. And sure enough, we pulled out and picked up a dog.
And it's been happily ever after. No plans of rehoming her?
No.
She's a big part of the family.
Yeah, I mean, you don't think about it, obviously. Once you get her in the truck, we took her to the vet. They wanted her for a chip, and there was nothing, no collar. And they said, if you want her, she's yours. So at that point, it was like, oh, shit, you know, we have to take care of this thing now. It's you know, we don't just get to leave her outside. You have to take care of this thing. So great addition to the family. I don't know what I'd do without her.
And then switching from the outlaw schedule to the remainder of the Kubota High Limit Racing calendar. We're here in your home state. We're racing in California and then up the West Coast for a few more weeks. What else on the high limit schedule are you really looking forward to as a driver before we wrap things up at the All-In Championship finale at Texas Motor Speedway? Is there a track you're really excited to go to?
Quite a few tracks. I like Port Royal. Excited to go back there. Went to Lucas Oil Speedway back in 2016, I believe, and raced the Hockett race. And Texas Motor Speedway, too. It's a gorgeous facility. I've driven by it 100 times, and I'm excited to go there at the end of the year.
Giovanni Scelzi doing the Lord's work, stepping in and filling in for Tyler Courtney in the midst of a championship battle. We didn't even get to talk about the pressure you're facing with this championship battle. Hopefully we can do that on another episode of the High Limit Room. But Giovanni, not Gio. See, I almost stopped at Gio, and then I spilled out Vonnie at the end. Man, we're super happy you're on the road with us. Best of luck in the rest of this West Coast swing. We'll be talking to you every night, I'm sure. But thanks for talking to us here on the High Limit.
Yes, appreciate it.
Giovanni Scelzi.
All right, now jumping into the third segment of this week's show, we are now joined by the pit reporter with High Limit. That is Tony Laporta, otherwise known as Bubba, and social media manager for High Limit, Brian Walker. In this segment, we usually talk about some of the bets that you can wager on with the upcoming race, or we talk about some stuff that happened over the weekend, and that's what we're going to do in this one because we don't have the odds yet for Silver Dollar Speedway and the Gold Cup. But this is where Tyler Burnett needs to kind of, edit in where we talked last week about Justin Sanders and Corey Day both hitting. One guy that really sticks out to me, knowing that he's going to be at Tulare, is going to be Corey Day. I feel like a lot of people could be wagering on him. And then the guy at Placerville, to me, that could be a little bit high in the odds, especially with the news that we saw today, is Justin Sanders. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, obviously, I think those are two great picks.
And Brian, they both hit 4,100 for Sanders at Placerville and 1,200 for Corey Day at Tulare. I don't think we'll ever be that good again. That was a pretty solid prediction.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was just kind of teed up for us more than anything, right? I mean, Corey Day at Tulare, the kids won 2 trophy cups, dark races. Winning a national race was only a matter of time. So having him at plus 1,200 was free money, really. And then Sanders at Peeville too. That's also wasn't shocking. It was just long overdue more than anything. And what was he? He was like plus 4,200, right?
Yeah, 41.55, I think was the exact number.
Yeah, turned $10 into 420 or 30 in a heartbeat. So it was a good weekend. I did get someone sent me a ticket too. They put like maybe $3 or $5 on Sanders, just lunch change, and it hit. So it's cool to see some people winning.
Yeah, you kind of had to sweat that one out, though, as he didn't take the lead until 2 laps to go. But congrats to Sanders, congrats to Day, and congrats to anybody that put some money on them. So if you want to get involved, nxtbets.com/playhlr. You can see which sports books are available in your region and claim a sign-up bonus on there as well. So let's get into Tulare. Obviously, Corey Day with the win. But one of the big storylines going into the weekend, which there was plenty of them with the different rides and the different guys and different cars, my opinion was Spencer Baston getting the call from Kevin Kozlowski to drive the what is the letter W car now, which was a big surprise in the pit area at Tulare. But he was driving, Tony, like he had something to prove. He went out there and went quick time in qualifying and then led, I want to say, 12 laps of the feature, finished second. A very good performance, his best finish of the year with high limit, and it came with Paul Silva on the wrenches.
Chase, first of all, yes, you nailed it, right? It was the letter W that Spencer Baston was driving, and he did have something to prove, it felt like. And then just how, I don't know if ironic's the right word, but just, how perfect was it that he ends up getting into a battle most of the night with his former teammate, Corey Day at Jason Myers Racing. And plans are still up in the air for what they're going to do with that JMR number 14, because Corey Day can't make the remainder of the 2025 Kubota High Limit Racing season. But yeah, Spencer looked phenomenal. I went up to the top of turn 1 after Capital Custom Trailers qualifying was over. He went quick time, and I just asked him, I said, how's that feel? And he referenced it later in the night, relief. He said, I felt relieved. It was just nice to have that weight off his shoulders of trying to figure everything out throughout the course of a night with a car that, he just wasn't really performing in. And that happens all the time in sprint car racing. Drivers and teams and cars and all the combinations that go into this don't always work out perfectly, and it's not necessarily anybody's fault. So, it was great to see Spencer run as well as he did. Man, what an all-star kind of car what an all-star kind of lineup that car has had over the years. I know, Brian, you'll probably know the stats better than me, but Tyler Courtney has won in that car. You've had Corey Day win in that car. I think Shane Golubic has driven that car, maybe? No? But they've just kind of always kept that car off to the side of Paul's 57 blank. And that car always seems to have really fast drivers in it, run really, really well. So not a surprise at all to see Spencer run as well as he did. The highlight of that experience for me was just watching him look a lot looser during the course of a night. Baston was in a car that worked with him, and it was fun to watch.
It certainly was. And then behind those two guys, Corey Day and Spencer Baston, it was Giovanni Scelzi just barely nipping Brad Sweet at the finish line for the final podium position. But Brian, with that win, that sends the Jason Myers Racing, or it did send the Jason Myers Racing team from 11th to 8th in points in one fell swoop. Exactly what that team needed. We still don't know if they are planning on running the rest of the year, and if they are, they've got to get a substitute driver in. But it was definitely the shot in the arm that team needed in the point standings. But what did you see from Tulare? What stood out from you to you, Brian, after that race?
The whole night? Oh, man, that's a loaded question. Spencer Baston's performance, obviously, and then backing up at Placerville, too, running 5th. Gio and CMR coming out of the gates wasn't really a surprise the way they did. It was good to see Justin Sanders kicked off the West Coast swing the way we thought he would, top 5. I guess one thing that stood out is kind of lesser known to the world was the 49 crew obviously went through some changes at Knoxville and everything. Casey Kane's taking over the crew chief duties. Jarrett Martin was on the car, which I've met Tony too as well. We grew up around him in the midget ranks a lot when he was with USAC, Buddy Kofoid. Then he went to he was at KKM, Chad Boat, and now he's on the 49 car. That was an interesting addition. I would say honestly that probably is what stood out the most.
Yeah, Jarrett Martin, certainly a very good crew member, and I think he's got a bright future in the sport, especially teaming up with Casey Kane Racing. Also did want to mention there, Tony, that our boy Bubba, or I don't know if that's you or if that's him, but the dice roll hit for the second time this year, and probably the most entertaining dice roller of all time.
Yeah, that was completely scripted. Him and I talked about that, and we knew exactly how that was going to go, and I was never worried at all about anything he was going to say on a hot mic, not only to the public address system, but to the world watching live on Flow. No, that was awesome. That's a great part of High Limit, right? The interaction with the fans all night. You know, nobody else in sprint car racing is interacting with the fans, I think, the way we do at High Limit. And then for that opportunity for a fan to leave with some money every single night, that's going to draw some reactions out of people. I think there were some other things drawing reactions out of that individual Friday night in Tulare, California. But, you know, Chase, that's just what happens when you come out to the West Coast. You get that Holy Spirit in you. You're excited to be at these West Coast bull rings. And that's kind of how I was acting the whole day leading into Tulare, was that West Coast spirit living deep inside of me. So that was a lot of fun. And I just think two great tracks to kick off the West Coast swing. Brian talked about what stood out at Tulare, and I agree. Jarrett Martin, great addition to that team. He actually stepped away from a position in IndyCar racing as a crew member with Chip Ganassi Racing, who, Chase, I know you're glued to the IndyCar races these days. They just locked up another championship with Alex Palou, but for Jarrett to elect to come back to dirt racing and sprint car racing, that just tells you how competitive and how enjoyable our side of the motorsports world is. And that's kind of what he told me, was just missing the competition and the fun of this world. But you know what stood out to me at Placerville? Not that you asked, the crowd. I heard stories of people standing in line for a pit pass for 2 hours to get in at the start of the afternoon, or the start of the evening rather, at Placerville. That place looked fantastic. These crowds in California always give a ton of energy. The grandstands at Placerville are what stood out to me. Awesome crowd.
They're so like lively too there. They're very lively. Like, it reminds me of like Pennsylvania.
Well, and when you do what we do, Brian, with Chase and I trying to get reactions out of the crowd, it is so nice to be able to say, you know, Placerville Speedway, are you guys ready to go sprint car racing? And they give it back to you tenfold. And so, but all these tracks on the West Coast are full of race fans, I think, that are really starved for good 410 racing. So yeah, Placerville, the crowd was just that venue is so cool. That property's awesome. So that was a really cool part of the weekend, I think.
Yeah, so I guess we'll switch gears and talk about Placerville now, which had a very exciting finish there. And Tony, I'll just add on to what you said there. The crowd there, as soon as you say the name of one of their guys, you can hear them over the background. At least I could in my ears on the FloRacing broadcast and whatnot. So one of the best crowds in all of motorsports is the people over at Placerville. So obviously a lot to discuss about Placerville, with Justin Sanders getting that first ever win out of the way. He'd been so close so many times, especially with High Limit. He got 2 second-place runs last year with us, and he's ran second to the Outlaws at Gold Cup before, twice at Gold Cup before, to Corey Day and Shane Stewart. So it was very cool to see him finally get that first win out of the way. And Tony, what was shocking to me is, you know, he said in his interview, I thought I'd be a little bit more excited. And it felt like he was pretty excited when he got out of the car, and, you know, he didn't worry about the Hoosier neckband, the Sunoco fuel checkered flag. He just got on top of the wing and started going crazy. So he looked like he was pretty excited, but in his interview, he wasn't.
You know what I think that a lot of that, what attributes to a lot of that personally, Chase, you know, talking about Justin, because I felt the same. You know, it was, I don't want to say subdued, but it was definitely a little bit more calm. But I think some of that just has to go with how, like, he didn't get to ride around for the last 5 or 6 or 7 laps, realizing like, oh man, I'm about to win my first ever National Touring 410 Series victory. He was fighting literally up until the white flag flew to get that victory. And then once he gets around on the last lap, you're probably not thinking like, nice, I got it in the bag. You're thinking, hit my marks in 1, get out of 2 right, get it pointed down the straightaway, get into 3, make sure I get off of 4. Where's Caleb Montgomery? And I think it was all because it happened bang, bang, bang so fast. Who knows if he even really had time to let it hit him, right? So I was super happy. I was going to be happy to see either one of those guys win, right? Justin Sanders doing exactly what Aaron Reitzel and Brian Ridge and that team brought him in to do, which is keep that car at the front of the championship fight with Kubota High Limit Racing. And he's just so good there, out here. Not a shock to see him run well. And then to see Caleb Montgomery, I mean, what did he lead? 34 of 35 laps. I don't know what the stat line, 33?
33, yeah.
I mean, what a dominant performance. And I don't think he backed into it by any means. He held Corey Day off on a really aggressive early race charge. And then, he still had guys in the field like Brad Sweet charging all the way up. And Caleb Montgomery I talked about it in the pre-race hit. I said, this could be the night where Caleb Montgomery lets the national sprint car world know who he is. He didn't do it the way he wanted by winning, but I think he really showed off who he is as a driver and as a guy to a lot of people that night.
Yeah, I think he's making a lot of new fans. That is for sure. Brian, he ran 10th at Tulare, and then obviously that second place result at Placerville. He had a top 5 with us at Paris earlier this year. He had a 7th place run last year with the Outlaws at Stockton. It has been a very good 2 years for Caleb Montgomery, and he's not done yet. Going to head up to Silver Dollar Speedway here. Going to go up north with us as well. So looking forward to seeing how things progress with him. But how impressed were you with that performance he put together on Saturday?
He's going north with us?
Oh, maybe is he not? Oh, I don't know.
I don't think he is. I was trying to offer him pit passes to come north because I'm trying. I would love to have him come north, but I don't as of right now.
Maybe after a second place finish, it might change.
Yeah.
Or when he wins the Gold Cup, he's going north. That's
yeah. I mean, if he wins Gold Cup, he's not going to survive the hangover by Monday to make it to Douglas County. He might make it to Sketchit. But no, I agree. Caleb was honestly as much of the story as Justin was on Saturday night, and it's really cool too because Tony might have talked about it. I heard it from someone like they trained together like all off season, like. Justin has helped Caleb immensely. Chad Warner got a good photo. I'll send it to Burnett and he can edit into the show a good photo of, I think Montgomery giving Justin a huge kiss on the cheek in victory lane. And, so it was really cool though. He didn't waver either, really. Like, running 5th is one thing, running 7th with the Outlaws is one thing, but then like to go fight tooth and nail with Corey Day in the dash and then the first 5 or 10 laps or whatever in the feature and go through the traffic at Placerville and then go wheel to wheel with Sanders the way they did the last 5 or so laps. And he didn't back down at all. It was very impressive. Really cool to see his entire, career path unfold. I remember when we were 14 years old racing R Factor online at 5 a.m. with him. And he's grown up a lot since micro sprints out here in California. He was like a Delta regular a lot, I think. So it's been really cool to see the way he's taken off lately.
Yeah, it certainly has. And I did want to mention as well that, the last couple of years, the quote unquote Cali clique has not been exactly where they have been wanting to be at. But I'll tell you what, on Saturday night at Placerville, the Cali clique was in full force.
That was an arc race.
Sanders and Montgomery first, second. Then you had Shane Galdick 7th, Andy Forsberg 9th, Gage Garcia 10th. And then, I don't know, Corey Eliason, I wouldn't count him as Cali clique. I mean, maybe you would. I don't know. He was 3rd.
You can have
it.
Okay, we'll take it. So, that was a very standout performance by the Cali clique, and they have been struggling very badly over the last couple of years to put a lot of guys in the top 10, and that was not the case on Saturday.
Chase, I just don't understand how you can say derogatory things like that about the Cali clique and say that they are not where they want to be when they have you, their loudest and proudest member, the voice, the face, the banner waver for Kubota High Limit Racing. You're up in the booth, you're representing, and you are the Cali clique. I don't know how you can say they're not where they want to be when they've got you exactly where they want you.
Well, I'm their biggest fan, that is for sure. I sing their praises everywhere we go. And Anthony Creaney will tell you that the Cali clique, they haven't been hitting on all cylinders here recently, but Saturday night, that was pretty cool to see them have a good run. We'll see if it continues on into Gold Cup. And we did mention Corey Eliason there. Man, has he been bouncing around from a couple of cars here the last year or so. It was really, really cool to see him get back on the podium. He qualified quick time in Flight B as well. So Corey Eliason, one of my favorite guys in the pit area, Brian, former high roller, able to finish in the 3rd spot, ran 2nd for a lot of the race. That was cool to see as well.
Yeah, I think Corey Eliason, Corey with a Y, I guess not UI. he's one of the most respected guys, I think, in the industry. A lot of people really love him. And that's one guy who is following us all the way up north, too. So he'll be with us at Chico, Roseburg, and Skagit. And obviously, his car owner, Rooster, Shannon Wheatley's from up there. So it'll be exciting to see if they can build off of that and maybe click off a win.
Yeah, we'll see if that is the case. Final thing I wanted to talk about on Placerville, Tanner Thorson. I feel like we talk about him every week. He's now got 12 top 10s in a row in points-paying action. But the one at Placerville, Tony, took a little bit more work than he was probably hoping for. He had that issue in the heat race, which, was really tough to see. Had a guy spin out in front of him under caution for the lining up for the heat race. He had to come from the B main 21st to 6th, plus 15 for Tanner Thorson to keep that streak alive.
Well, and I was kind of interested. I was listening very intently with where you were going to go with your intro about Tanner, and you talked about how it feels like we talk about it every week with how well he's running in the streak of top 10s. Yes. At the beginning of the season, it was we were talking about him all the time due to winning B mains and getting hard chargers. They haven't had to do it the hard way these last couple. I don't know, what's the streak you said? 12 races?
Yeah, 12 points paying races. Yes.
12 points paying races of top 10 finishes. And I'm pretty sure most of those, he didn't start very far outside the top 10, if he even started outside the top 10 at all. Everyone knows it's a whole lot easier to finish in the top 10 when you start in the top 10 in races with fields as competitive as we have right now. So last night was kind of like spring Tanner Thorson, where they got off to a really bad start due to no fault of their own and had to work for it like they did back at Central Arizona, back at Paris, back at a lot of the tracks this spring where he was having to pass a ton of cars. So they've got stuff figured out. We keep saying that. Nobody ever wants to give away their secrets. Lee Lindgren is back with him, at least for last weekend. I'm sure he'll be with him this weekend. Lee probably can't travel north as he does have a full-time job here in California. But Tanner is a guy, I think, and Chase, you know him better than I do, but I think Tanner is one of those guys where when it's good up here mentally for Tanner, everything else is good. And that's probably most race car drivers in truth. But man, when Tanner thinks he's good, he is good. And when he's got Lee Lindgren on his side, and when Brent Marvel and TJ Nichols are hitting and doing their jobs the way they need to be doing them, and Tanner feels good up here, man, he's on. So very cool to see that car and that driver and that team running as well as they are. Where are they in points? I mean, obviously they've got to be sitting really well for a franchise at the end of the season. They're doing exactly what they need to do.
Yeah, he's now 8 points behind Justin Peck for 6th in points. So he could certainly, they can't take it this week because no points at Gold Cup, but I mean, he could do that at Douglas County, just beat Peck a couple spots. So definitely on the rise in the point standings for Tanner Thorson. Nice job again to him. Another hard charger award. He's probably got like 32 on the year already. So very impressive.
Chase, his plus minus is 114, which is exactly double the next best, which is
it's always I feel like he always leads the category. I'm sure he led it last year. He's always at the top, if not the very top of the plus minus positions gained and lost every season. I'm certain he had to have led the category last year.
Yeah, he did. He certainly did. Now let's jump into Gold Cup. You guys are currently at the Silver Dollar Fair, hanging out in the campgrounds over there. I came back home. I'm hanging out with the family for a few days. But Brian, I'm guessing that was your post on the High Limit Twitter account yesterday with the new lights that they've got in there. They've got the new suites in there. So the last time that we were at Gold Cup, none of those things existed at Silver Dollar. So they've been putting a ton of work into that thing. And we are looking forward to a really fun week with all the off-track events, obviously the on-track events with the split field prelim. It's going to be a fun week over at the Gold Cup, and we're really looking forward to seeing how it all unfolds and see if Corey Day can be the first guy to win 3 Gold Cups in a row since Steve Kinzer in 86, 87, 88.
Yep. Yeah, the SLC Promotions and Silver Dollar Fair both are equally doing so many great things here. The new Musco lighting is incredible. Like, it makes a massive difference. If you've ever been here before, you will immediately notice it. And the extra lights is really cool. They have some special driver intros planned. There's a cool viewing tower in the infield, which is huge for me, probably Tony too. Man, yeah, the suites, they're really just doing a bunch of great things around the property. But as far as this week goes, yeah, I can't believe you're not here, Chase. I don't want to not be here for a single second. This is my second favorite week in all of sprint car racing. It's 2 weeks after my favorite, the Knoxville Nationals. It's really just like a Knoxville of the West Coast, on a bull ring though, which is always exciting. Yeah, Corey Day has got to be the favorite, right? I mean, I was the line in 1998. Was it, Tony would know this, was it 20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration, right? Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
this is Brad Sweet's 20th Gold Cup, and he's never won. He's led, I don't know how many laps. He's ran second, he's ran third, he's ran fourth, he's ran fifth. He's done he's promoted the
won the
freaking race.
prelim nights.
Yeah.
He's won prelim nights. Yeah.
He's done everything but win the bikini contest and win the Gold Cup. So
if Chase doesn't hit him with a 20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration as Brad crosses the line, should he win on Saturday? Chase, if you don't do that, well, we're going to have to go back to Craigslist job postings.
That might be, I might have to pay the copyright fee to Mike Joy on that one, but they might be worth it. And I mean, Brad Sweet could get both of those things in 1 week. He could win the bikini contest and he could win the Gold Cup. I mean,
if he wins the bikini contest, I'm going to be disappointed and ask for my money back.
That wouldn't be very good competition, I wouldn't think. But yeah, not there. I've been to the Gold Cup a ton of times, but you know, obviously I wish I was there, but don't get to come home and see the family, and I don't get to come see my fish.
Fish.
There's my fish. I forgot his name, but I don't know his name. Ruford or something. I can't remember the fish. His name.
I love it. I love it. Chase is going to miss this big lead up to this massive event to go spend time with his fish, whose name is, I don't remember.
I don't know. It's not my fish. It's my stepmom's fish, but he's a good fish. He's been quiet this whole podcast. He's been quiet. He's not interrupting us at all. So good boy. But yeah.
Good boy.
Prelim. What's that?
Good boy.
That,
good
Tony?
fish. Good fish.
A good boy, girl. I don't know what you are, but you're a good fish.
Hey Chase, I'm just telling you, lots of people last night at the kickoff dinner were asking. They're coming up and they're grabbing me. They're saying, "Where's Chase Rodman? Where's Chase?" And
by people, he really means Savvy Sweet. She wouldn't stop talking.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, I mean, her, yes, and also some other guy named Brad Sweet, who may or may not be your boss. But yeah, lots of people. Racer Don cooked up some delicious Racer Dad Don, sorry. He made us some great dinner, and everybody wanted to know, where's Chase Rodman? And I didn't know what to tell him. So you have a lot of people to answer to when you finally show up here.
Okay, well, I guess we'll start a ticketing process. You know, hey, D142, you're next. Come talk to me, and we'll get them all figured out. But hey, the split field prelim nights Thursday, Friday. Half the field going on Thursday, half the field going on Friday. Points. Brian, take us a little bit through the format. You don't need to do the whole thing, but just to let people know what exactly we're going to be watching. It's somewhat similar to Knoxville, how you get points in qualifying, points in the heat races. So you're the expert on that. Just kind of let the people know what they should be watching for on these prelim nights coming up.
Yeah, it's definitely relatable to Knoxville in the grand scheme of things. As far as you're doing points, you're doing inverts, you're locking into Saturday. The general concept is, you only get one prelim night, so you get one shot at getting a good point total, and then you'll qualify. We do an invert of 6 at the Gold Cup. So 4 heats, it's a 24 car invert total, and it'll be about 35-ish per night, probably. We'll have B main, no dash. The biggest change probably is there's no dash. There's no redraw, on those prelim nights. You're going to invert 8 in the A main from, your qualifying time among transfers. And then more than anything, you're just going for points all night, every night, qualifying, heat race, and A main. And then, new for this year is on Saturday, the top 8 overall from Thursday and Friday. It's not like 4-4. It could be 5-3. Who knows? The top 8 overall lock into the A main, and they start heads up by points, and then everyone else goes to qualifiers.
All right, good stuff. So keep that in mind when you're watching the Gold Cup over the next 3 nights, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Now, speaking of the points, there is event points, but there's no points in the championship. So everybody that's wherever they're at in points right now with High Limit Racing, they are going to stay in those positions before we get to Douglas County on Monday. Now, one fun thing with the split field prelim is we are planning on having some guest announcers in the booth for the 2 prelim nights. As of right now, and this is subject to change, but it does sound like we're going to have Tanner Holmes up there and Donny Schatz for the 2 prelim nights, going to be given their insight. And obviously Dominic, he texted me like 2 weeks ago and was saying, hey, I have got to be up there. So Tony, it'll be fun to have him up there along with Tanner Holmes. I'm sure they're going to give some great insight as to what the drivers are feeling out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, that's the best part of a driver-involved broadcast, right, is you and I are, we're just so clever and witty and fun to listen to and look at, obviously. But it's those guys that have done it and still do it. I love it, right? And I know that's always been kind of a dream of yours, just to have a traveling analyst who adds to what you're describing and can color it in a lot. So Dominic's fantastic on the mic. He's not as funny as me, but I think, or you for that matter. But I think he'll probably figure it out. And, Tanner Holmes is just so good. They're both great. They're both great speakers. They both can communicate what's going on out on the track to people watching who have no idea. So, seriously, that will be a very fun addition to the broadcast. Dom and Tanner are both phenomenal guys to have on the mic.
And they're both good looking.
Yeah, but not as good looking as Chase.
No, better.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Human resources.
I haven't seen him in so long. I forgot what he looks like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's been like a day and a half.
Doesn't come around anymore.
Mitch works for the series still, Chase. I'm just wondering if you do.
Mitch wasn't there for like 2 months, so I definitely forgot what he looked like. So I had something else I was going to mention there, and I kind of forgot what it was. Brian.
Find it back. We were talking about
Mitch.
Before that, what were we talking?
Dom and Tanner joining.
Dom and Tanner, they're better looking than you.
I remember. Yeah, Donny Schatz will be wearing a new T-shirt. We'll just say that on the broadcast, so that'll be fun to see him wearing that.
Hey, we just got a text about this from Kendra Jacobs. Are you guys going to be bowling in the Rudine bowling tournament the week of Skagit? We just got asked about that. It pays pretty well.
I'll bowl. I mean, I won't win, but
yeah, I won't. I'll bowl. I'll be there for the vibes.
I'm gonna look here. I'm gonna see what it pays.
Is it a team? Do we all?
Yes.
What? How many people?
Hold on. Let me check my Slack here really quick. I'm gonna fill you guys up. I'm gonna catch you on this. 6 to 9 p.m. on Wednesday of the Skagit weekend. Angel of the Winds Resort and Casino. Teams to compete in the tournament. Each team is 2 people. First place pays $2,600 to win, $1,300 to second, and $700 to third. The event is catered, and it's at a casino, Chase.
I'm going to be teaming up with TJ Nichols. He's a ringer.
I'm going to grab Kubota High Limit Racing staff member Mitch Erickson, who went to college on a bowling scholarship.
He's washed, though. The game has passed him by.
He's not washed.
I did not know that he did that, but I did bring my bowling shoes, so it's just a good thing that he happened to put a bowling tournament together, so I'll have to break those out. The final thing I did want to talk about here in this episode of the High Limit Room, not a High Limit racing topic, but a sprint car racing topic. The last time we had an episode, we mentioned Donny Schatz and Tony Stewart Racing not being together anymore, the biggest announcement in 10, 15, 20 years. But Brian, it was announced just 2 days later that he was going to team up with David Gravel and Big Game Motorsports and Todd Quiring, which was a monumental announcement to have a 10-time series champion with the Outlaws and, of course, the defending champion with the series getting together and having team cars. Unfortunately, things went sideways on the opening lap at Ogilvie. He got upside down. Then he had to run the Dave Lunster 3 at Jackson, got a top 10 there. But just incredible storylines, incredible cinema with silly seasons so far, and we're only in August right now.
Yeah, I'm still. It's he ended up having to go run for Lunster, right? But I'm like,
he ran 10th though. He top 10. So.
Yeah. I'm just still stuck on the fact that he's not in the TSR 15 more than anything. Like I just see them on the track, and it doesn't really make sense. I think I talked with Spencer Basin about it, and it was just like. For so many of us who are kind of a certain age group and have been around the sport since we were kids, like that car and that driver were like is all we knew in sprint car racing, right? So it's totally just different.
Yeah, crazy to see that happen. And then what's even more wild to me is that I think Jeremy Elliott confirmed it. Kyle McFadden posted the transcript of a conversation he had with Tony Stewart. It was TSR's decision, which going along with what you just said, Chase, I mean, over the last, couple decades, who's been better in this sport, in this game than Donny Schatz? It's tough to put your finger on that name. And so I think a lot of people thought that they saw the writing on the wall. Oh, Donnie's frustrated. Oh, he's going to want out of there. He's upset with how things are going and personnel and this and that and the other. But according to Tony Stewart, it was his decision, which, again, that's crazy. And I was really fortunate last year. I got to go to the Knoxville Nationals and work for TSR as their video guy. I made some behind-the-scenes stuff of Donnie. I've done the same with Tony on the drag racing side. And you would have never thought it. Tony and Donnie, at that point last year, had a fantastic relationship, and I don't think it was anything to do with their personal relationship. Obviously, it was all about performance and what direction that car was heading. So, yeah, wild times. I couldn't believe it. It's still crazy. Like Brian said, you just associate that guy, that name with that car and that number. So, who knows? Maybe we'll wake up tomorrow or we'll wake up on Thursday. Donny Schatz will be back in the TSR 15. And he'll be at the Gold Cup Race of Champions here in Chico, California. You never know.
Yeah, if that happens, I would go buy a lottery ticket, Brian.
Two-time Gold Cup champ.
Yep, that is true. So maybe we will see Donny Schatz in Chico.
Donnie's like me. I do know this. Donny Schatz and I are very similar. We love coming out to California. Big West Coast guys.
Huge. Absolutely huge. So I think that's all we've got on this week's episode of the High Limit Room. Make sure to watch the Gold Cup Race of Champions. Let me get to the name right. It's the 71st Gold Cup Race of Champions. So the Mike Curb Gold Cup Race of Champions.
Yeah,
presented by NOS Energy Drink. Did I get that right, Brian?
Yeah. 71st Mike Curb Gold Cup Race of Champions presented by NOS Energy Drink. Yes. We didn't even talk about the glow party or the bikini contest or...
we talked about Brad winning. We talked about Brad winning the bikini contest.
Yeah. Just basically, if you're coming, there's a million off-track festivities. That's part of what makes this one of my favorite weeks.
Yeah, go to silverdollarspeedway.com. They've got the whole list of the events off the track on the website as well, along with the racing. There's a 360 race on Wednesday night as well. And so a lot to do throughout the week in Chico if you're going to be here. If not, make sure to watch on FloRacing. Tony and Brian, thanks for jumping on, and we will talk to you guys next week here on the High Limit Room.